I wanted to talk about the current awards that have just taken place, the Cannes Creativity Awards, and really our view of those, which is maybe a bit different from the rest of the markets. I think for one thing, there's a lot of digital agencies that wouldn't even pay attention or know there is Creativity Awards. But then we've definitely got the other side where we're celebrating making ads which are creative in nature, not focused on performance or effectiveness for clients. There was actually a study done by WARC which showed that people who won awards for creative and then the crossover with that with effectiveness was in the single figures, showing that often we celebrate creativity for ads as if it's an art form rather than the effectiveness of the ad of which it's designed for. And I think it's a real problem and a trap for marketers is that they make ads that they like for themselves in boardrooms. They approve ads on massive screens rather than thinking about what this is going to be like on a phone. And I guess in a world where you used to be able to, there's 4 TV channels, people are going to have to watch your ad. That can work. But now we're in an environment where people within 1, 2, 3 seconds of swiping away, this idea of making ads to be creative and celebrating that feels, like a very big hubris that the marketing fraternity has. What's your views on developing out a creative strategy that's focused on the customer versus the brand?
So I think there's two types of creativity when it comes to advertising from a digital perspective. The first is around creative that actually gets people to engage and understand what you're talking about, whether it's a product or a service, and convert or take an action that you're looking for them to do. So that probably is a world away from the Cannes Advertising Awards in the sense that it doesn't matter how creative the ad is if somebody doesn't watch or doesn't connect to what the subject matter is. So, in that sense, I think they're worlds apart. The measurement for creativity from a conversion perspective or a consideration perspective really should be from a metric side of things. So, how much of the video did they watch? How many people stopped in the first 3 seconds? What action did they take afterwards? Really data-driven measurements for creativity. Secondly, but if we're talking about like brand affinity or brand recall, in the sense of is that brand staying front of center of mind, things can be a little different. So even in the digital sense, so somebody's sitting on the couch watching their catch-up TV, they're seeing an ad on the TV, they're on their phone while they're waiting for the programming to start again. And say for example, you look at the Telstra ad with the whistling. For the entirety of the ad, you don't know that it has anything to do with Telstra, phones, communications, networking, other than a Telstra logo in the last 1 second. If you didn't catch that last couple of seconds, you wouldn't know that it had anything to do with Telstra or communications. So that's an award-winning ad, in my view, that is rewarding the wrong aspects of advertising. If I want somebody to remember my brand when they're not in market, it can be catchy and it can be well designed, but it really should be reflecting the topics, the thematics that are relevant to the brand or their values. And I think that's where, in certain instances, advertising loses its way. I understand that there's a strong role for brand ads to play to people who are not in market, but if you are just designing things that have absolutely no correlation to subject matter, I think it's an entirely waste of time.